Hello everyone, welcome back to Unbiased Election Projections. We are currently at 164 subscribers. If we could get to 170 by the end of the weekend, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate it. So, if you are not subscribed, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to hit the subscribe button before I start this video. And if you are not subscribed, then, if you are subscribed, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to hit the like button. If you dislike this video, then dislike. It's better to dislike than not to do anything. So, tell me what you think, and tell me in the comment section. I do love, a respectful debate, and if you like this video, please tell me. It really flatters me, and I really appreciate it. So I'm going to get right into this, because you probably didn't, tune into this video just to hear me talk about subscribing, so please hit the like button, /subscribe/dislike in the next 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and we're gonna get started. These are the top 10 people, not necessarily women, but there are a few guys on this list, but most of them are women, who Joe Biden is not going to choose as his vice president. Number 10 is Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I know you're thinking, Tulsi Gabbard is I'm doing air quotes here, progressive, who is hated by the Democratic establishment. Kind of the opposite of Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a moderate who's pretty liked by the Democratic establishment. So, first of all, the media hates Tulsi Gabbard, and the DNC will do anything to screw her over. There's the Bernie Sanders level of DNC hate, and then 10 notches higher is Tulsi Gabbard. And I'm a progressive. I've been very upfront about that, and I don't make my predictions off of this, but as a progressive, I hate Tulsi Gabbard. And there are basically 2 reasons for this. First, Tulsi Gabbard has a very bad history when it comes to her legislation during her time in the Hawaii State Legislature, and even in her early career in the House of Representatives. She has voted multiple times against LGBTQ rights, and before you rush and say, well, she was raised in a conservative family, so it's not her fault, and that she's fixed her position. Elizabeth Warren, who is my favorite senator in the U.S. Senate, or one of them at least, who I see as a very sincere progressive, Elizabeth Warren she was raised in a very conservative family in Oklahoma. She has never, ever before flip-flopped on key issues, while Tulsi Gabbard has, and I don't see her as legit. There are some progressives who like her, and her and Bernie Sanders, she endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016, and I think her and Bernie Sanders have a pretty good relationship. Mike Gravel, another progressive, endorsed her, and Bernie Sanders. It was a split endorsement, but whatever. So there's some progressives who like her, but I think there are a lot of them that don't like her. DNC hates her, and the moderates absolutely despise her. So, not a good look for the Biden campaign. And Tulsi Gabbard is just, frankly, I don't like her, and I think her approval rating is probably less than a third. Number 9 is Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo, in my opinion, is one of the best governors in America. He handled COVID-19 so positively that now New York is one of the better places for COVID. Even when 2 months ago, in April, it was a hotspot and they were getting 10,000 cases a day. Cuomo, I believe as of yesterday, they had 600 cases, which is still not great because you don't have any COVID cases. But Cuomo did a great job. However, he is a man, and I don't think Biden should Cuomo would be a good president in my opinion, but Joe Biden should not break his promise, especially after getting all the media attention. It would be a really bad look for him by picking a man. That's basically it. Number 8 is Claire McCaskill, and I know you might be laughing at the thought of a Biden McCaskill ticket, and I am too. But I have to list this because she is a female, and she is from the Midwest, and there are a lot of people who really like Claire McCaskill. During her time in the Senate, I admired her and her consistent record, and when you look at her record in the Senate in terms of legislation, she is unmistakably liberal, despite calling herself a moderate. However, people think of her as the definition of the establishment, and she kind of is. She also lost a statewide election in her home state of Missouri in 2018 to Josh Hawley. she was also very unpopular during her time as a senator or not all the time, but it in the past, after a little bit before her defeat in the 2018 midterm elections, she enjoyed a few years of being very unpopular in her home state. Now, the only way I could see Biden even considering picking McCaskill is if Missouri was somehow up for grabs, but even then, it's not, first of all. And second, it's clear McCaskill is not the ideal politician from Missouri for the Democrats. She was unpopular, again, as I mentioned. Some people even called her corrupt. And again, she's part of the establishment. Number 7 is Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders actually isn't the craziest idea on this list. And kind of like Andrew Cuomo before him, he would probably be a good pick for vice president. Bernie a Biden-Bernie ticket would definitely, it would basically unite the whole party behind two candidates. However, Donald Trump has stopped nothing short of calling Bernie Sanders a communist. Even Mike Bloomberg, who was a Democrat, who probably would have endorsed Sanders had he been the nominee. Even Mike Bloomberg called him a communist in a debate in February. Personally, people who call Bernie Sanders a communist need to do their research, but that is the common feeling. And again, I'm a progressive, so you probably know how I feel about Bernie, but honestly, he would not be a good pick. First, as I mentioned, for Cuomo, Bernie is a man, and Biden pledged and has gotten a lot of media attention because he's going to pick a woman. Pick Bernie would mean that he's going back on that promise, and Bernie is very polarizing. I like Bernie, as I already mentioned, but he's just not a very electable candidate, and that's why the DNC doesn't like him. Number 6 is Oprah Winfrey, and I know it's fun to imagine a Biden-Winfrey ticket or seeing her as a president or vice president, but let's be real here. Joe Biden has made it all about helping the little guy. And quite frankly, having Oprah on his ticket or Michelle Obama wouldn't help him with that image. Oprah is a billionaire celebrity who, is a good person and everyone loves Oprah, but still doesn't represent helping the little guy and getting back to basics in regards to the economy. She'd probably hurt him in the Rust Belt with middle class voters. However, she still would get a lot of attention, and I could see a Biden-Winfrey ticket being a possibility. But in my opinion, if I were leading a search team for Joe Biden's vice president, I wouldn't have Oprah Winfrey anywhere near that short list. Number 5 is Susan Collins. Susan Collins is a Republican, but a pretty anti-Trump one. She didn't support him in 2016, and she'll probably grudgingly support him in 2020. But she has voted against him sometimes, and is pretty nonpartisan, despite her recent votes to confirming Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Susan Collins, first of all, is unpopular, and from a safe blue state, Maine, so doesn't have a swing state appeal. And even if Maine was a swing state, she's unpopular, so that wouldn't really help the Biden ticket there. Now, the only reason that he would ever consider choosing a Susan Collins or a Lisa Murkowski or a Meghan McCain or even a Colin Powell or a Mitt Romney is for a unity ticket. All of the people who I listed are Republicans, but anti-Trump ones, really. However, Susan Collins is, as I mentioned, unpopular, part of the establishment, and pretty old. She's also running for re-election in Maine for Senate, so it's not like, it's not like she's has nothing else better to do. And she would probably turn away a lot of voters from a lot of progressives, they're already skeptical and are kind of on the fence to whether they should vote for Biden, but having a Republican as his running mate, no matter how moderate the Republican is only going to hurt them. And it would actually, it would unify, it would get some Republican voters, not a lot, but it would alienate a lot of progressives who are already not in a great position aren't in love with Biden. Number 4 is Heidi Heitkamp. And as you can probably tell, I'm getting kind of short of people on this list, but let's talk about Heidi. I really loved Heidi Heitkamp during her time in the Senate. I always viewed her as a nonpartisan senator who put her country over party. That was until the scandals happened, and some bad stuff happened with Heidi Heitkamp. So I don't really have the time to talk about it. It's not that inappropriate, so I'm not going to get demonetized for mentioning it, but you should just look it up yourself. I'll put some links in the description of this video for starting points. Anyways, Heidi Heitkamp, for those of you who don't know, was a former senator from North Dakota. She served for only one term, and she won in 2012 off of a kind of weird election, and she barely won. Then 2016, she lost by a likely margin to Kevin Cramer, who is now the current senator for North Dakota. Heitkamp is an interesting pick because she was a former red state Democrat and is pretty conservative for a Democrat, kind of like a John Tester or a Steve Bullock or a Joe Manchin. But still, she's part of the establishment, kind of like Claire McCaskill, had some scandals that really tarnished her reputation, and I mean, she had a shot at winning re-election before the scandals, but after that, it was pretty clear that she was on the path to defeat. Heidi Heitkamp probably also wouldn't help win over Rust Belt voters or progressives because she's a moderate from North Dakota who has scandals. So it wouldn't be a very good idea for Biden to choose Heitkamp. Now, number 3 is Chuck Schumer. And I know you're probably laughing at the idea of Biden choosing Chuck Schumer, and I am too, to be honest. This would be a horrific pick. And these aren't just people who Biden would not pick, but these are people who he shouldn't pick. If he picked Chuck Schumer, I think he'd be trying to lose the election on purpose. Chuck Schumer is unpopular, part of the establishment, and is viewed by many as corrupt. He's the current Senate Minority Leader and he's a Democrat from New York. And even members of his own party don't like him. That would be like Donald Trump choosing Mitch McConnell, even though Schumer is a tiny bit more popular than McConnell. But still, they're both pretty unpopular. Schumer would hurt him among progressives because Schumer doesn't have a progressive appeal. He would hurt him in the Rust Belt in with middle class voters because Schumer is part of the establishment and is obviously pretty unpopular all around. Independents hate him, the Republicans despise him, and most Democrats are shaky at best about him. In fact, it would be pretty hard to find someone who is even more unpopular than Chuck Schumer. But someone who actually is, the one person who is Nancy Pelosi, the current Speaker of the House. Now, Pelosi is a female, so she checks that box. But other than that, nothing else is going for her. I mean, she's a congresswoman from California, which is a safe blue state, so she doesn't have any swing state impact. She's already unpopular in the state, and she's running for re-election to the House. She's also 80 years old, so she's older than Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is pretty old himself. Pelosi also, kind of, in my opinion, is not a great look for the Democratic Party. Again, I'm not a blue dog. Well, I'm not a Democrat who would vote Democrat down ballot. Well, obviously, I can't vote, judging by my voice, but if I could vote, I'd probably do research into the candidates, and in fact, there are some Republicans in independents who I like more than Democrats. It's not often, because my beliefs align more with the Democratic Party, but there are some instances where that happens. Personally, I think that Nancy Pelosi is a bad look for the party because, really, she, in my opinion, just my opinion, she plays Trump's games. If Trump antagonizes her, she pushes back. Like, her ripping up his speech was not a good look for her and her party. I think that if she just took the high road, stepped back, and just let Trump look like an idiot, then she'd be a lot less unpopular and more liked. But other than that, there are still some other reasons for him not to pick her. She is also part of the establishment and is probably the most, other than Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, probably the most establishment politician you can think of. But I think I'm forgetting one person who is more establishment than any of those 3 people who I named. And if you know who's going to be number 1 on this list, tell me in the comment section below. Who's it going to be? 3, 2, 1. Brace for impact. Number 1 is Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is honestly unpopular as heck. She has probably a low 30 and high 29, probably 31, 30, 29% nationwide approval, and she is the only person in history to have lost an election to Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton is, I mean, honestly, she is the weakest candidate imaginable for the Democrats, behind probably only Heidi Heitkamp and Chuck Schumer. I mean, her and Nancy Pelosi would probably, well, she's the 4th weakest, but what's so bad about her is that she's already lost an election to Donald Trump. Yeah, she won the popular vote, and trust me, I love Hillary. I cried when she lost, but unfortunately for her, she's not popular, and she has a ton of scandals, like the email scandal, which I think is, as Joe Biden would say, a bunch of malarkey, but the country doesn't think so. You have to accept that. She also is polarizing, probably more polarizing than a lot of far leftists like Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard, although Tulsi Gabbard isn't really a far leftist. In my opinion, she's a right-winger. But Hillary Clinton is honestly the worst pick imaginable. If he chose Hillary, I'd assume that Donald Trump is paying him to throw the election, because I cannot imagine a worse choice than Hillary Clinton. She also literally lost a ton of states a Democrat should have won. And had they ran any other candidate other than the three that I mentioned earlier, any Democrat would have won those states. Hillary Clinton is not popular. That's the bottom line. And the middle class hates her, and swing voters hate her too. So, yeah. They voted for a person who bragged about sexually assaulting someone over Hillary Clinton. That's how much they hate her. Alright, so thanks for watching this video. Please, again, if you haven't already, like or dislike, and if you have not subscribed, that would be much appreciated. I really hope we can get to 170 by Monday morning. If not, that's okay, because still doing pretty well, guys. Thanks, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.